Hello everyone, in this video I'll be showing you how to make an Acid Draconic Sorcerer in Baldur's Gate 3. So acid damage isn't as good as like lightning or cold, but it can still be plenty powerful, and I'm going to show you how to get Hunger of Hadar on here and make it a pretty decent build. So we're going to start with the Sorcerer, as this gives us the Constitution saving throw proficiency, which is going to help us hold our concentration on things like Hunger of Hadar. As for our spells, we're going to obviously be taking Acid Splash. Now, this does an area of effect damage, so that's why its damage is a little bit lower than something like Firebolt. If you're the face of the party, take Friends. If not, I really like Minor Illusion because you can group enemies together, drop an Acid Splash on them, and then that just does some nice damage. Shocking Grasp is good to stop enemies from having reactions if you need to move past them. And then also Bone Chill to stop the target from healing can be good. I wouldn't really recommend Poison Spray, but we'll go with something like that. As for our cantrips, we can actually turn Chromatic Orb into an Acid Orb, so that gives us at least one choice for damage. Rage Sickness does poison damage, so it's not a true, I guess, acid build, so I'm not going to take that. We can go with Magic Missile or Shield for the +5 to armor class. We can also take that at next level. We're going to go with the Draconic Bloodline. This gives us the armor class of 13 when we're not wearing armor. And it's already selected. Perfect. The Draconic Ancestry Copper gives us Tasha's Hideous Laughter. Now, I think it's actually, for the purposes of this build, it's actually better to go with the Black Dragon Ancestry, which is going to give us Grease, which gives us a bit of a crowd control spell. Conjuration makes them not fall prone, potentially. And, yeah, I'll get into why we won't be taking that as we get further in the video. Now, we're going to go with 16 Charisma. If this is your own character, you can use the Hags here to take this up to 18, and then ability score to take up to 20. Otherwise, put it to 16, and then the rest of our points are going to be spread between our Dexterity, Constitution, and having Intelligence is okay, but it's not a huge factor. I would actually like to see your Dexterity a little bit higher if possible, and then Constitution around 14. So that'll give us a little higher armor class and initiative, which is really important for us. But we can also go with, I'm not wearing them currently, but we can go with the Gloves of Dexterity, so you can dump the Dexterity if you wanted to, and then put that extra point in Charisma. So we'll go with something like this for our ability scores, and yeah, I'm going to go through the full build here. I'll show you the armor and what we're going to want to equip, just to make this, I guess, a general way of playing this. So at level 2, we get our metamagics. Yay, these are exciting. So, shield we'll take for our spell. Metamagics are the bread and butter of the sorcerer. They give us some really nice abilities. So, distance spell allows us to cast spells at a further distance, and melee spells get a range of 9 meters. Twin spell is the most broken thing in this game. This allows us to twin haste to ourselves and someone else, which is really, really good, and a sorcerer should pretty much always be doing that because it just gives you a free action, which makes up for the action you use to cast it. Now, at spell level 2, we can go with a few different options. There's no real dedicated acid damage here. Misty Step is a good consideration as like an exit button, get out of a bad situation. Scorching Ray can be decent damage, even though it's fire damage, it's still pretty good if you want something different. Acid burns, and so does fire. I'm going to go with Hold Person. Actually, we'll take Hold Person another time. Scorching Ray can be some pretty good damage if you want spell early game. Again, it burns, so it kind of works. Quicken Spell is the metamagic we want to get at level 3. This allows us to cast a spell as a bonus action. Extremely powerful. It allows us to really open up our damage options. Now, as for level 4, we get another cantrip, so you can take whatever you want there. Mage Hand's not bad, because a Mage Hand can actually throw acid vials, so that can give you some acid damage there. And for our next leveled spell, Misty Step is, I think, the best one to go with here. Web can be good too, though. We can put a web down in our Hunger of Hadar, which is awesome. But I'm going to go with Misty Step for that kind of panic button, get out of a bad situation. As for our feat, I would recommend taking the Charisma up to 18, or if you've used the Hags here, that'll allow you to take it up to 20. And at spell level 5, we get our level 3 spells. Now, Stinking Cloud kind of poison the acid, but we're not going to take that. We're going to take Haste, because with Haste, we can twin this to ourselves, and what this does, it gives us another action. So the action you use to cast Haste, you get it back, basically, and then on your next turn, you get 2 actions. So you become faster, and you gain a +2 to armor class. Haste is really, really good. And at level 6, this is where we get some nice bonuses. So we get the ability, Elemental Affinity Damage, so this adds our Charisma modifier to our damage of acid spells. So we get a +4 to all acid damage, and we gain resistance to it. So that's kind of a nice little bonus. If we spend 1 sorcery point, we can get that resistance. Now for our next leveled spell, Counterspell is honestly a really good spell to always be taking. This allows you to stop a spell from being cast. If you want, you can take something like Fireball. Again, fire burns, acid burns, same kind of concept. And Lightning Bolt's good too, so Fireball or Lightning Bolt. But I'm going to go Counterspell. Super useful spell for shutting down the enemy team. Now, at level 7, we're actually going to... We could go further in this, but again, no acid spells. So we're going to find a way to get them, and that is by going into the Bard. Now, we're going to be playing as a lore bard, because we get magical secrets, which allows us to take some awesome spells. Also, Vicious Mockery is amazing. Take it. We'll take Friends, because we didn't take it previously. As for our spells, there's a few good ones. Healing Word gives us a bonus action heal, which can pick up downed allies, and it scales off Charisma, so that's a nice one to have. Also, Dissonant Whispers can possibly frighten a creature. That's a nice spell to have, too, just because Frighten can shut down an enemy. Gives them disadvantage on attack rolls and ability checks and makes them stay in place. Thunderwave can be good too for the pushback and knocking enemies off of cliffs. Sleep is good in early game, but not the point where we're at. Speak with Animals can be good, and Tasha's Hideous Laughter is good too, because you're not going to be prone, and then it gives your other teammates the ability to deal a little bit extra damage, or have advantage on their attack rolls, so they're not missing as often. We can go with the increased acrobatics if you want to resist being shoved. But even a performance check is nice too. As we continue through this, we're going to be taking a few different things here. So Jack of All Trades, Song of Rest gives you an extra short rest. Really nice. Another spell slot. Longstrider's great, but you can actually have someone at camp cast that on our team. So I'm going to take it, but it's not one that you really need. Now, we get to choose our subclass here with the College of Lore. This gives us Cutting Words, and... this is nice. So whenever an enemy takes an action, we can use Cutting Words, and I'll get into that as we get into the build itself later on. Now, for our level 2 spell that we get from Bard, that's why I said we're not going to take a whole person earlier, because we can get it here now, and I just knew that the Bard had a bit of a different setup for spells. For skills, we can actually go take Acrobatics there. Sleight of Hand is good too, if you don't have someone that's dedicated to doing that. Persuasion's good. The increase in performance checks is also pretty useful, and deception checks. And I would say pick any one of these here that you like, but I think that the best are performance, persuasion, acrobatics, and sleight of hand actually pretty good, so we'll take that. Now, we're going to get into the Hunger of Hadar and how to use that. Because at level 6 we get the magical secrets, so we can get a free cast, or we get the ability to choose that, and something else, which I think I'll show you guys, something cool. Cloud of Daggers can be an okay damage spell, but Invisibility is also quite great, and Knock is good too for opening up chests. This gives us the ability to just not use our lockpicks, but I'm going to go with Invisibility because that's just a really good spell to have. Now, if you've used your ability improvement and taken your charisma up to 20 already, we can go with like Warcaster to give advantage on saving throws and maintain concentration. Alongside gives us reactions, shocking grasp at a target moving out of melee range. So that's a really nice thing that we can get there. Alert is also great for +5 to initiative. I'm just going to go with another ability improvement to take a charisma up to 20. That just gives us higher damage on our acid spells, as well as gives us a bit more of a spell save DC. Now we finally get another acid spell. It took us quite a long time, but Glyph of Warding is our next acid spell, funny enough, because you can actually make this an acid glyph. So there's at least one. Again, acid damage type is not as beloved as other types. Now we get Counter Charm here, advantage on saving throws against being charmed or frightened. We need to choose another spell, and I think Plant Growth is awesome. Reason being, we can put this down and put Hunger of Hadar on it too, and then the target is basically stuck there, and we can actually do a little fun thing by putting Hunger of Hadar down and quickening at Plant Growth, so that people are stuck there. Now, for our magical secrets, we're going to obviously be taking the Hunger of Hadar. This gives us that one of the few acid damages in the game. So creatures within are blinded and take damage at the start of their turn and the end. So they'll take 2d6 of cold at the start of their turn and 2d6 acid at the end of their turn. That's really nice. Vampiric Touch is necrotic damage, so it doesn't really count. And you can see there, we don't really got many other options for damage spells that are, acid based. So my personal recommendation is actually to go with Spirit Guardians. This is exclusive to the cleric, but it's a great spell to have if you're not going to be having a Hunger of Hadar set down, because this is a pretty good concentration to hold as well. It deals radiant damage and creates movement speed, slows down movement speed. So you can go with Spirit Guardians, but if you want to always be doing Hunger of Hadar. We can go with Call Lightning or Lightning Bolt. We would have gotten that from the Sorcerer. So there are some spells where it's like, feels like it's kind of a lost choice. Even Mass Healing Word can be okay. Call Lightning's actually a decent one too, because it gives us kind of the Storm Sorcerer vibes. But also, Animate Dead is not bad. I'm a big fan of using that spell myself, but I think that for the purposes of this, it's probably best to go with the Spirit Guardians and Hunger of Hadar. So again, different purposes, both require concentration, but yeah, here's the Acid Sorcerer. So, using the Mark of Heshkir, because we can actually buff our acid damage even further with this. Gives us a +1 to spell save DC, spell attack rolls, and Kereska's Favour, which gives us a nice extra casting of Hunger of Hadar. Viconia's Walking Fortress there, Ring of Protection. So we have a 23 armor class with these 3 items, Cloak of Protection, Evasive Shoes, and Ring of Protection. Got the Birthright hat on, which takes our charisma up to 22, and then the Constitution amulet. Since we didn't take Warcaster, it gives us a nice 134 health, but also advantage on Constitution saving throw checks, or Constitution saving throw checks. So whenever you're going to roll to hold your concentration, I was using the Wave Mother's robe there, but you can go with any other option for clothing. Like this one gives us a free Create Water, which is not bad. The Vest of Soul Rejuvenation will take our armor class up a little bit higher. And if you want, you can actually just go with the Helldusk armor, because this doesn't require proficiencies, and we can get our armor class up to 27 that way. So a few different ways we can attain that. Just depends on how you want to go about doing it. Now, we want to always be doing this. So twin spell, haste, twin haste on ourselves, and then twin haste on someone else. So that is a nice spell just to have. Always have haste up. It's really useful. Unfortunately, this does require concentration, so we kind of have to pick between if we want to use our Hunger of Hadar, Spirit Guardians, or go with the haste itself. But it's honestly good to have your haste up, and then if it ends, you become lethargic, which kind of sucks. But yeah, ideally you wouldn't. The thing is, the Glyph of Warding can be a good source of acid damage, 5d8 of acid. And what's nice is it doesn't require concentration, so you can set this down, and then there's that acid glyph right there. If you wanted to go double or nothing, you can actually just throw the Hunger of Hadar down on it too. I'm going to knock myself down. Oh, get out of it. There we go. So there's the Hunger of Hadar acid glyph. This is kind of the way about doing this. We want to drop both of those down, and he'll keep taking Mizora out. But we'll end the Hunger of Hadar there. If you don't want to use Hunger of Hadar, we can just run in with the Spirit Guardians. You get 2 options, Necrotic or Radiant damage, depending on what the enemy is, because some will reflect Radiant damage, so that's when you want to use your Necrotic version of it. But there's actually a lot of Necrotic resistances in this game, so yeah, you can even just like, I wouldn't recommend standing in the Glyph of Warding, but like standing around and moving around to get the extra damage procs, really good. And Vicious Mockery, just for what you can hear here. Gore-bellied virulent horse butt. That's too funny. Really great cantrip. I highly recommend playing a bard just for that. But yeah, what's nice about this is we can use our sorcery points. We don't have a whole lot of them, but we can also turn our spell slots into sorcery points if we need more for like a twinned or a quickened spell. We also get grease too, so that gives us another, I guess that we get multiple crowd control options. So we got grease, we got Glyph of Warding, we got plant growth. So you can literally just like, we can literally like shut down everyone, because that's like multiple difficult terrains there, and then on top of it all, you can literally just throw that Hunger of Hadar down. So yeah, that is like, no one's moving through that. If they get stuck in there, they ain't leaving. They're stuck in that Hunger of Hadar for the rest of their life. So yeah, that is a acid damage sorcerer. Again, not the strongest. I don't want to go out there and have people be like, this is not good. It's not meant to be. It's more so for people that want to role play and play as an acid sorcerer. If you want to play as a strongest sorcerer, play as a draconic lightning or cold sorcerer. Those are 2 really good ones. And you can even throw a little bit of those elements into here. But I just want to go over this build because I was just theory crafting something. Someone was asking about acid damage spells, and I realized there's not a lot. So I want to put this together so you guys can maybe come up with a cool little playthrough if you want to go acid sorcerer. So if you found this video useful, please hit the subscribe button below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.